Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of All Caps, the second one today. I'm Isaac Anderson, the author of A Song of Odes and the Garden Maids. I'm joined by Michael Vadney and Ben Schenkman. Is it Schenkman? I'm trying to read your name.
Yeah, you got it right.
Schenkman.
Yeah.
You guys are writer extraordinaires, and I've brought you on the show to talk about our upcoming anthology of short stories, Rings of Adventure. More than 30 short stories from indie authors in fantasy, science fiction, romance, horror, all across the board. We're all writing little tiny things and having a blast doing it. But really, I want to ask you guys, what's the best version of the Odyssey? Is it the one that just came out, the Coen Brothers, Oh Brother Where Art Thou, or the SpongeBob SquarePants movie? Which is the best version of the Odyssey?
See, as soon as you said, "Oh brother, where art thou?" I am sold. I love, unabashedly adore that movie.
It's
I didn't
such
see
like
it for the first time until like maybe 2 years ago. I had no idea about it until then. Like I knew it was a movie that came out at some point, and I watched it not knowing that it was an Odyssey remake. And I'm just like, this is just a quirky ass movie, and it was
beautiful,
super fun to watch. I had a lot of fun with that one.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
can I tell you a funny thing? My partner
Yes.
went to see the new Odyssey, and I had watched. I made them watch, by which I mean they enjoyed "Oh brother, where art thou," and they love John Goodman so much, and they were like, I was watching the Odyssey, this new one, and just praying that they were bringing John Goodman back as the Cyclops, and I was like, that would have been perfect.
Yeah.
That would be that'd be, because the Cyclops is like a creepy Gollum-y guy
Mm.
in the new one, right? He's got like a weird twisty nose.
Oh, I haven't seen any images of it.
Oh, going blind. I've seen too much already.
I try to. I try really hard to stay away from spoilers and stuff like that. Like it's something that really started with books and reading, actually, where it's just like soon as I decide, actually no, it started with movie trailers, because movie trailers give away way too much stuff. So I don't watch a movie trailer unless I'm trying to decide if I want to watch it. And then as soon as I made the decision that I want to watch this movie, I turn the trailer off, because I know it's going to ruin something for me if I keep watching it. Because so many trailers, it's like you finish the trailer and it's like, oh, I know everything that's going to happen in that movie now.
I don't have the patience. I like the trailers too much. I'm weak. I'm a weak man. I'm exactly who they make those trailers for.
You're welcome.
Yeah. I've heard, I mean, some people, like, we can talk maybe briefly about, the nature of adaptions. So from the reviews I've seen online of people talking Odyssey, if they have not, I've noticed, if they have not read or have had any experience with the Odyssey as a work of art, they really like the movie. And if people are really familiar with the Odyssey, they don't like the movie as much, or they're straight up offended by the movie. So, is that a failed adaptation? If you know nothing about it and you still get the gist of it and enjoy it, I think that's a success. But it sounds like they left behind some of the hardcore fans. So I'd say that's maybe a 40% success for an adaptation, maybe.
I think it's too early to say. Ben, you go first.
I was just going to say, in this day and age, how many human beings have actually read the Odyssey? So I would say if they were going for anything, they probably succeeded in that the majority of the audience has at best touched it once in school. And so if you, like any really hardcore fans, I don't think you're going to make any hardcore fan of anything happy with an adaptation.
Yep.
Interesting. So here's another hypothetical. So the Odyssey was a big deal for a lot of human history. It was a respected canon of work. Fast forward to kind of modern day. The newest, I think, important addition to the canon that I think we can all agree is an important addition is Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. Now let's fast forward 500 years to 25, 26, where most people have heard about Lord of the Rings. They've maybe
That'd be
touched it
amazing.
on school, but no one's actually read it. Maybe a handful of people have read it. And then their version of Nolan makes his Nolan's Lord of the Rings. And the people who know nothing about Lord of the Rings, oh, this is a great movie. The diehards are like, no, they've changed and ruined everything. So is that still, would you call that a success, knowing that we have what we have right now? Because there are some old adaptations of the Odyssey that people say are pretty good that just no one's
Yeah.
seeing because they're old.
See, that's something too, is like when you first make an adaptation or a new entry or remake or whatever you want to call it of an existing story, from the get-go, there's going to be a lot of hate from people who already love the old versions. But then you give it time, which is like what's happening with the prequels with Star Wars right now. People are now looking back with rose-tinted glasses and going like, you know, those stories were pretty good. They had a really cool things happening in them.
I think
Happens
that's
all the
partly
time.
true. I think that's partly true. I think what's happening is all us kids who grew up with the prequels and loved them as kids are now becoming the loud voice in the room, and everyone else is going to retirement homes and like, back in my day, they didn't have computers editing the crap out of stuff. Now we have AI to do that for us. So yeah, I think perspective changes throughout.
Yeah.
So I think so. I think that's why I think No Brother, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, I think is the perfect adaptation. Because nobody hates that.
It's because they didn't try. It's not a remake. It's a reimagining.
It's
a completely different story.
I'm
that
with
uses
Michael.
the bones.
What's the word? What's the word? It's
inspired by.
Inspired by more of a.
It didn't claim to be the Odyssey.
An homage to.
Yeah.
Almost not homage. It is a loving. It's a love letter.
Love letter.
It's a love letter to that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why people get behind it, because it's like it's not trying to step on the toes of what came before it. It's just going like, hey, here's this thing that we all love. Here's my contribution to that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you didn't tell someone that Oh Brother, Where Art Thou was a retelling of the Odyssey, they would not know. And I say this as a person who loved the movie before I understood that it was a retelling of the Odyssey. I thought it was just John Goodman with an eye patch. I did not realize at the time when I first saw it, because like I also love the music, the soundtrack for Oh Brother, Where Art Thou is glorious.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was, 2 rewatchings in before I was like, oh, is this an Odyssey thing?
I didn't know until after I'd finished it either.
That's why I mentioned the SpongeBob movie. That first SpongeBob movie was a retelling of the Odyssey.
Oh.
Not
I'm just now learning this.
But they did. So like Steven Hellenberg, he said, I can imagine sitting back like, okay, I want to do a movie for my ocean people. What's the best ocean story? Odyssey. Let's take Odyssey and put it in the stupid kids cartoon and see what we get.
Better than Titanic.
Yeah. Plus, the Odyssey is like it's the classic adventure. It's the classic you leave home, do a bunch of things, and try to get back.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's so fun. That's so cool. Speaking of trying to get back, let's get back to our topic at hand. Talk about the Rings of Adventure. So we've all written little short stories for this thing. So our theme was rings, and our rule was short. So how did you tackle your little short story? How did you? What was your approach? Do you write a lot of short stories? Do you have experience in this? I mean, for me, I've written 1 or 2, but I wouldn't say I'm a pro at it.
Yeah, go ahead, Ben.
I've written a few. So I have a short story prequel to my first series that I wrote. And then I'm part of a different anthology that I had just finished the draft of right before I wrote the draft of this one, because the deadlines were like reversed in that I owed my anthology that one before I owed Row a final draft of my Rings of Adventure story. So like I had a couple under my belt. But the other thing to note though, our word cap was 5,000 words, and that's not a lot of words. Uh, you know, it's perfectly serviceable as a quantity for a short story, but you really need to set an intention before you go in. Otherwise, you're going to end up overwriting by like a really significant margin. Which, you know, I'm not going to name any names because that'd be rude. But we had like a number of our authors who were like, how am I going to cut this down from where I ended up? So like my approach was effectively, I had this idea going in, and I don't know how much can we talk about the actual stories.
Oh, as much as you want. You can spoil
Oh,
things to Kingdom Come.
fantastic. So I'm an urban fantasy author, and I stayed true to form on this one, except I did a subversion of the chosen one trope.
The not
And
chosen one.
well,
So
no,
the light shines on the guy and says, "Not you," and
So-
then goes away. And like, what was that?
imagine that. So it's urban fantasy. So imagine that every major city has a hero,
Okay.
and then imagine that they're all chosen ones. And also imagine that it happens to them at a young age, because that's another trope, is the young urban fantasy hero. And then add a sprinkling of reality that really screws a kid up.
Mm.
And so my Rings of Adventure tale is focused on a ring of plastic chairs.
Oh.
And I treated it like a one-room drama, in that the scene had to be set, the action had to happen, and there had to be enough closure in 5,000 words. And so I was like, I can't leave this room. These characters are in this room, and that is it. That's all I'm going to do for 5,000 words. And so like I set a very strict intention for what I was writing about, and stayed within those boundaries. And I came in at like 4,500 words. So I was like, well, something worked.
So you wrote an actual short story. You actually had you did a good job. You knew how this worked.
Okay. Let me also not tell a lie. So that story that I wrote for my other anthology that had a 10,000 word cap, I came in at 12,600 words. So I was like, I can't do this again. I can't do this with 5,000 words. So like I had already like not stuck the landing, but like I'm one of the organizers for that one, so we're gonna not worry too much about that one. But I wanted to like be a good citizen on this other one and not have to ask people for the spare words in their pockets. Yeah.
Sounds like the hard and fast rule is each room equals around 4,500 words. So as long as you outline your short story to be, you know, you count the rooms, you can figure out maybe it's this much. So I guess mine has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think it has 11, 12 rooms. So maybe that's too much. That's where my problem lies. So my draft, I think, went up to 6,000 words. That first draft I did.
That's doable.
I've went
Respectable.
through, I've cut out a lot of stuff. I've redone pretty much the entire beginning now. A lot of stuff is on the cutting room floor that I really liked, but I think the story is stronger character-wise because of it. So I've had a blast. So mine's set in outer space, set with my rings are tree rings.
Oh, nice.
When people get to space, we have gold and platinum at the wazoo, but what we don't have is wood and trees. So it's about a survey team that goes out into space, and they're looking for things that are close or like trees. So most stuff they find is tree-like or wood-like, and they can't really use very much because it either like tries to eat you, or like it melts your skin when you sit on it, or like it's almost a tree. So
Less than the ideal.
they finally find some good candidates, and when they chop down these trees, they actually have tree rings. So I did a lot of research to get to tree rings. First off, your planet needs to have a tilt. If your planet has a tilt, you have seasons. If you have seasons, you have hot times and cold times. And if you have trees that want to fall asleep during cold times and go dormant, then you'll get grow rings. So if you actually go down to the equator on Earth, you'll find trees that don't have any rings because they grow all year round.
I learned
So
something.
Oh, yeah.
there you go. So I learned a little bit about how trees work, and I think it makes the book feel and sound smarter. I have a fun little sci-fi concept I'm playing with, and then of course things go terribly wrong as they do in space. But I think it has overall a hopeful kind of tone to it. So
That's
a
good.
hopeful disaster in space.
That sounds great.
No, I like that. We have a good mix here because we have like the urban fantasy, we have the sci-fi, and then I went with an early 1900s fantasy. Why not? That's the equivalent of what I am calling it, at least. For mine, my ring is the pale ring that you get on your hand after you are no longer wearing a wedding ring, because the main character, his wife died a year or so before the story started, and it's a little bleaker. It ends on a nice hopeful note, just because like that's the kind of stories I like to write. I like to write dark stories that end with hope, where there's a reason to keep going despite the difficulties that people face in life. But I also use this as an opportunity to kind of just explore a new setting, because I had written Crownfall that came out earlier this year, and I've been dealing with that for like years. And now it's like, okay, I'm planning this new series. I want to dip my toe into that world first to explore it.
Yeah.
And this short story was just a perfect opportunity to do that. So the main character is actually the father of the two main characters in a new series that I'm working on, and I'm very excited for it. This short story was just so fun because it seeds so many things that I'm looking forward to connecting with other stories. And that's been my experience with short stories in general, is I use them to explore types of characters and setting and like magic that I want to play with, to see like if it works in this short amount of time, it will definitely work in a novel.
Yeah.
And that's been my experience with short stories so far. So I'm very excited to actually polish one up and put it out and be like, hey guys, look at this.
There you go.
It's quite good. Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
As someone who read Michael's story, it's quite good. Unfortunately, Isaac, I hadn't read yours yet, but I'm
That's
sure it's
okay.
also quite good.
It's fine. It's getting there.
Don't
It'll
don't you be self-deprecating.
I got some really good notes, like some really good notes on it. I think the most helpful note I got was EL. He gives very good notes.
He gives good feedback.
Halfway through the story, there's something that happens, and he made a little note, and he's like, finally conflict. I was like,
that's a very EL note.
It is.
And he was right. I made the beginning. It was this is a trap I fall into. I make things too pretty. I make things too we're gonna hang out with this character.
Too ideal.
Maybe.
Slow burn.
Not quite slow burn. Like I like to hang out with the characters. I like to hang out in their world because I'm building something a little bit strange. One of the things I'm playing, well, the second draft may not have this as clearly now, but that first draft, I was playing with the idea of loss of identity, like as a race. So one of the scenes that it might come back in, but one of the scenes I've cut. So let me back way up. So I've had an idea for a sci-fi for a really long time about an artist, where his job on the ship, whenever they land on a planet, he's not there to help harvest anything, not here to study anything, not here to kill anything. His job is to go out into this new alien world, sit down, and paint a portrait of what he sees. It's not snapping pictures. He's not, getting scientific data. It's pure human eye translating what he sees into art. And that's his job on the ship. So in this sci-fi world, I have like every ship that goes out must have an artist of some kind on the ship, and it's an old rule that nobody likes. Um, most most crews, they draw straws like, okay, I'm the artist this time, and they'll write a poem or they'll sketch a picture and then they'll cross it off the list. But this ship going out has an actual artist on board. Like it's an old tradition, and most people don't like because it takes time. The land on the planet, it may not be viable to harvest, but they have to wait for this guy to finish his painting. So they don't really like that very much. So
Yeah.
in his hiring scene that I wrote, the guy in charge is going through his portfolio and he comes across a scene of Mars, Mount Olympus on Mars. And he says, "This is very good. Where is this?" Oh, that's Mount Olympus. It was a mountain on Mars. Like, oh, Mars. It was that one of Earth's moons. And the artist says, "I'm not sure. I worked off a photograph." So they've lost, core things about humanity. And there's even now this is still in the draft where he sees one of his crewmates, walking around the ship checking it, and he gets a flash of like he could imagine him in spurs and a bandana like a cowboy from a Bible story, is what he says.
Wow.
So he's mixed the idea of cowboys if there were things that were in the Bible. So I'm playing with that. So that a lot of stuff I've cut out is just a beginning character piece with this character, struggling with that. He's dealing with this idea. And the second half of the story, he gets perfect perspective via sci-fi means. And things go weird and strange. So the notes I got, were very good notes, and I've taken those notes and I've written a new beginning where those elements are still there, but at the same time, it's got to be a pulpy, fun sci-fi. Not quite
Yeah.
what I'm doing would work great in a bigger novel, but not quite for a short story.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
I've had a lot of fun doing it. It's been a really, really cool process.
That's kind of the thing with short stories, though, is like you got to cut to the chase, especially trying to stay under 5,000 words.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah.
a lot of people will give the advice, especially to new people writing, where it's like, oh, you're going to write a novel, practice on short stories. And I think that's like mixed advice because, like, yes, there are a lot of things you can learn in writing a short story that do translate really well to writing a novel, but it is a different skill set, I think, because you have to be ruthlessly efficient with what you are doing. While with a novel, you can take your time, you can set a vibe, create an atmosphere. A short story, you have a list of things you need to accomplish and you need to go, go, go.
Yeah. I think a good bit of advice is tell that new writer, do some short stories, but don't finish them. Just, just have an idea. Let it be a stupid idea. I would tell them, first off, think of a stupid idea, something you don't care about, because you'll finish those. When I was working on for Song of Bones, I really cared about this idea, and it made it hard to work on. But for Garden Maze, this little novella I did, I cared about it, but not the level of this one. This one was like my potential masterpiece, if I could have a masterpiece. This one was just for fun. So my advice would be, start small, don't have to finish them, and make sure they're things that they're not your babies. Don't
Yeah.
don't choose your darlings first. Choose something stupid first. Write a funny little story first and cut your teeth on that. And then once you've actually, finished a couple of them, and I would say jump into a novella. And maybe you can incorporate some ideas you really care about. But treat it as like a test. Don't treat it as like something you would share around.
I do agree that a novella is good practice for a novel, and it gets you through all the pieces, especially if you publish it, and lets you know, like, hey, do you want to keep doing this?
Absolutely, yeah. And also, you can't really go over with a novella either. I mean, then it becomes
then it's a novel.
It's a novel, and like, hey, good job.
Oops, I have a novel.
Pretty good accident.
That actually happened with me. My first, and for the record, Michael, I agree with you in that that's very mixed feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are some authors who write many novels and cannot in fact write a good short story. They're not necessarily the same skill sets. But my first book, My Boss is the Devil, was originally like more novella sized. And then when I went back to it and I dusted it off and I needed to flesh out all the things that I hadn't fleshed out properly, I think starting with a novella is good. And if it's complete enough, you have a novella. But then if you go through and you need to add enough details, then you can just grow it into being like a short novel.
Yeah.
But also one thing I did do. So I'm a big Save the Cat person. And there's a lot of mixed reviews on Save the Cat. And I'm going to be very blunt here in that I think people who don't like Save the Cat are really worried too much about feeling like their writing is prescriptive, which means they've never actually read what Save the Cat's about. Because Save the Cat is about the pacing and beats of storytelling, and many stories over time, no matter how different the stories are, have the same kind of beats.
The Odyssey.
And yeah. And you don't have to use all the beats exactly, but like I'll tell you, using a beat sheet has been phenomenal. But then when I got to writing a short story, I said, well, can I use a Save the Cat beat sheet for a short story? And the answer is you can. But that's where I started to feel like Save the Cat was a little too much. And I found like a modified Save the Cat for short stories, which like really distills it down into like four questions that you have to answer by the end of your short story, kind of in order. So I'll say like even the construction of a short story is different enough from a novella or a novel that like, again, they don't translate exactly, because I've written 6 or 7 books, and then I had to write this short story, and my regular tools were not the right tools for the job.
Yeah. And it comes down to an understanding of structure. Like when people say they hate outlining, or they hate Save the Cat, or they hate those things, I feel like just an understanding of structure and being like educated in how stories progress behind the scenes, underneath the hood, is useful to everyone, whether you're a pantser or a plotter. Like just knowing these things and really understanding how a story comes together, how you move from the characters at their lowest point to they're having their huzzah moment over here. Like if you understand how that works and how the various forms of it work, you could write anything. You can write any story.
Yeah. Well, if you could write any story, what story would you write? I mentioned not doing your darlings first. I do have ideas I'm saving for when I'm like 60. Do you guys have anything in your little folders that you're like, I'm not quite ready, but someday this is the dream project?
That's my current project, actually.
Oh.
Like this is I'm going to cut my teeth and learn what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I'm very confident with what I did with it. I'm very happy with it. But I love fantasy mixed with time travel. And I think time travel is really easy to mess up. And I was like, I need to learn to write a book before I start trying to touch time travel in books.
I have a great time travel. That's also in the box. Maybe when I'm 40, I do that one.
There you go.
Oh, I can talk about it. It's such a fun idea.
Go ahead, Ben.
No, I was having a whippersnapper moment, in that like I'm 45, and I'm like, maybe when I don't have time for any of I don't have time for the when I'm but I got started later. Like I've always been in the arts, but like I really haven't been writing seriously except for the last 3 years. Which is, again, for anyone out there, it is never too late to start writing and publishing.
100%.
But like that's also why I'm an indie author, is because I don't have time to wait around for traditional publishing to decide that I'm a viable investment. But I have so many ideas. I have a Google Doc that's just, it's called ideas. It's just full of not just stuff about the series that I'm writing, because like I've got 3 going. The short story that I wrote for the other thing is gonna turn into a series. The short story that I wrote for Rings of Adventure, like I've gotten feedback on it that people may in fact ask for the novel treatment
Yeah.
on that story. And then I have like 20 other things, just like
Yeah.
these ideas that are cool. And like I have this whole idea for a different like contemporary fantasy cozy series with like really funny titles that I'm like, oh, that would be a delight to write. And it's just like, but you really have to pick your battles, because oh my god, there is only so much time.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
I have got to get better at writing things faster. I have right here. This is my whiteboard of all the things that I need to do in the next 10 years or so.
Don't start recording audiobooks
this-
like me and Michael, because then it's even more time.
This show is brought to you by Quartec dry erase markers. Other dry erase markers will erase at the slightest brush of a hand. Not this thing. This thing, if you put it on a dry erase, it's there forever. It will never come off. You need toad venom to get this stuff off. So very handy for keeping things, you know, safe.
It's a Sharpie.
I do think it's like something that a lot of authors need to rectify, or what's the right word for this? They have to come to terms with this at some point. Yeah. We're not going to be able to write all the stories that we can think of.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so early in this career, and I already feel the weight of, oh no, I'm not going to have enough time to do all of them, and I really want to.
I calculated the word counts that I would like these things to be and put them all together. Yeah. I'm like, just how much that is, and like how many drafts it took me to get through, you know, Song of Bones. Like if I were to first draft all these perfectly, that's already a mountain of words. And I mean, it's a lot. So I have my favorites, and I'm sure I'll steal ideas and feelings from all of them and put them in other things. But yeah, there's only so much you can do. So choose your projects wisely.
Yeah, I'm very envious of the people that can write very quickly and pump out those books, which I will say they probably have a good understanding of story structure. Just saying.
That's true. So when you guys, because we can't do everything, how do you decide? What makes you decide this is the thing I'm going to do, and this is a fun thing, but I'm sorry, you got to sit in the dark for another generation?
So series will do that. Like once you've decided that you're putting out a book in a new series, Michael and myself, because he's talking about a new series, I was going to say the stress of what do I do next compounds when you have more than one active series going. So it's like, well, what do I write next? Do I write the second book of this series, the third book of that series, the first book of a new series? So it's, and like it's new cast of characters, new settings, new magic systems, and or new science if you're doing sci-fi. Regardless, whatever the setting is, like it's all new stuff. Like all of my books are set in different versions of the same city, and they are still all wildly different. And so yeah, how do you decide what to do next? Like partly it's still, why are you writing and publishing? Because I have these stories that I'm telling, so I'm staying within these series currently, but like I have these other stories I want to tell. So at some point I am going to decide to put something on the back burner for like book 3 or 4 of a different series so I can write book 1 of this new thing. It's very hard. And sometimes it has to be also based on just what you want to do, because like I'll tell you, after developing a daily writing habit for 3 years and like pumping out 8 novels, sometimes you have to do the thing that's fun, because if you
Yeah.
keep trying to crush yourself through getting something done for the sake of getting it done, you're going to be miserable, you know. And honestly, these short stories were a lovely palate cleanser
Oh yeah.
in the middle of my draft of the second book in one of my series. I was like halfway through and I was like, I got to put this down because I have to do these short stories. And I literally wrote both of them in a weekend. Like, they were so fun and it was different and it was fresh and it wasn't
Yeah.
this thing I was trying to slog through for the past like 3 months. So yeah, sometimes it has to be the fun thing and sometimes it has to be the strategic thing.
This freaking short story has delayed the Song of Bones sequel by like 6 months.
Oof.
It is.
That's a lot.
I've enjoyed working on it though. It's been a fun. So Song of Bones has been. I've been working on it for over 10 years. You know, that first draft was 1,000 pages long. Yada yada yada. It's too big. Blah, blah, blah. So working on book 2 has been mostly just editing things from 7, 8 years ago that I wrote.
Oh, is it like stuff you cut out to put in a second book?
Yeah. So Song
Okay.
of Bones was like this big.
Yeah.
It's like, it's too big. My target audience is 11 to 17. They're not gonna read this. So I chopped just the beginning. So that's what I have right here. Where'd it go? It's over here. This is just the first part of the story.
Okay.
So the next, chunk of it was never meant to be a book 2. It's just the story continues. So I've had to turn it into a book 2 in the way that it feels like a book 2. And that's changed the story quite a bit. And it's been really fun too. So I think it's improved the story a lot. There's so many cool things in this new installment that are so exciting. But a lot of it is like, I change an element here. Now all the other stuff I got to make sure that fits thematically, make sure I don't have any weird dangling plot threads that I forgot about. Like the main character in an early draft of book 1 got what is it when you get the ringing in your ear, the tinnitus?
Tinnitus, yeah.
Tinnitus.
Yeah.
He got tinnitus. And because at the time I was living in the basement of our house, and I got tinnitus randomly. I would get ringing in my ears all the time, and like, this sucks. Like, this would be a great little problem for the character to have. And for a long time, it was tied into like a mystical element in the story as well. And I cut it because it was too many things. And now I'm getting into drafts along the story that I'm bringing in where he's dealing with tinnitus. It's like, oh, great, the tinnitus thing is here. I gotta change his mood. I gotta change his character a little bit because he doesn't have this anymore. I cut this out, book 1, and putting out book 1 was also very scary because I've decided this is the direction now.
Yep.
I can't change anything. It has to follow the themes. It has to follow the ideas. It's gotta go this direction. So I can't wait for this thing to be done. I can jump into something brand new and fresh because now I know how to write a book. This is still my first book. I'm working on it forever. So I can't wait for the next project because I know how to do it now. I know how to do it in a way that's, sane. And I know how to do it, I think, in a timely manner. So yeah, it's been interesting. I've loved this short story writing thing, even though it's delayed everything else.
I think there is some value in having different projects to jump between too for that refresher, because I feel the same about my short story for the Rings of Adventure. Like, after doing Crownfall and then jumping into this, it just felt so good to do something different.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was also just really nice for jump starting into, okay, I'm getting out of the book tour, I'm getting out of the marketing mode. Let's get back into writing, but let's ease into it with a short story. Yeah. And then I finished that. I'm working on a different short story for a different anthology. And then I'm also working on the outline for the 5-book series that I'm looking at. And it's just nice that when I get too much stress or too much pushback from trying to push myself in this direction for this project, change lanes, do another one for a while. And then I go back to that one refreshed.
Can I ask a question about your 5-book series there?
Hit me.
So when you are planning that out, are you intending to write them all and then release them? or are you going to release them as you write them? Or maybe you do the first 2 and do the next.
I'm definitely trying to still figure that out because I don't know what is most optimal for releasing.
Yeah.
But the default idea is that I want to have all 5 of them done by the time I'm 40. That's my goal, which is
How old are you now?
in 5 years. I'm 35 now.
35.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
You can do
so
it.
I'm 30. Yeah, I'm 35 now. I'm aiming for all of them to be somewhere between like 70 to 85,000 words.
Okay, yeah.
Like this was 123. So I want something that's like shorter and punchier. So I think I can do it. I'm making my plan. I'm a big plotter. I like to know what's going to happen. And when you're messing with time travel, you really need to know your timelines and what the heck is happening around here.
Yeah. Man, I have 2 big books in me. These are going to be the big ones. The rest of them, I want to stick in that kind of smaller kind of world because I think I can manage that. And most of them, like after the Song of Bones fiasco, I want almost all of them to be standalones.
I like standalones.
If people want more, I'll leave them where I have ideas where they can go. But book one is book one. It stands on its own, and I'd like each one to also stand on their own in some way. Like I have ideas for like sprawling series as well, but I don't know. I don't think that's the kind of writer that I want to be. I want to be more of the like Stephen King has his one series. Is Dark Tower? Are there any other series he did?
I think Dark Tower is the only series. Everything else is standalone.
Everything kind of.
There might be a few that have like a follow up, but
yeah, a lot of it's related cosmology, but not directly sequels.
Yeah,
the cosmology stuff annoys me a lot because I was trying to set that stuff up in a lot of the early drafts for Song of Bones. I was dealing with like this idea is this is connected. This like all the worlds are connected. Fine. If you could do that, I don't know. I think it distracted me. It forced me to write by rules that I didn't need to follow. If that makes it.
Yeah.
It added. Some limitations are good. It makes you solve interesting problems within your story. But I think those are limitations I didn't need.
Yeah, you were limiting yourself by stories that didn't exist yet.
It didn't exist, and maybe they'd exist in the future, but I don't know.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. There's this one connection I left in. It's fun.
Yeah, I like the shorter. For the record, I love to hear people wanting to write. When I say shorter, I just mean like more easy to market books. Like not every book needs to be 150 plus thousand words. My reading tastes as I've gotten older. Urban fantasy has always been my favorite genre to read, but I used to read a ton of epic fantasy, and the penchant for epic fantasy getting longer and longer leaves me absolutely uninterested in it in like a big way, which is like
it's been done. Like it's been done perfectly, like several times.
Well, but not just that. It's also a lot of books are long for sake of needing a good editor, not for actually having enough content to keep them long. And like I'm good. I'll call out the one that everyone loves so very much.
Wheel of Time.
No, I mean besides that, but he's dead, so I'm not going to like speak ill of that. But Brandon Sanderson, Brando Sando, I did not enjoy his latest book because he's writing so long and no editor in the world has the power to stop him, and they should have, because like it's like Wind and Truth was so painfully long in so many, like I listened to the audiobook and I listened like 1.35, 1.4 speed. And by the time I got to the end, I forgot what happened in the beginning. And it just like so many interludes and so many things that like could have just been handled within scenes in other chapters instead of having I love hearing, I want my book to be somewhere between 75 and 90,000 words. And I'm like, oh, thank God, because I will finish book after book of that kind of length, because it's going to tell me a story and then I'm going to get to finish it and then move on to another book. Cause like that's been my sweet spot too. Like my first series, book 1, like 70,000 words, book 2, 72,000 words, book 3, 85,000 words, book 4 is like 98,000 words, but I've still not published a book with 100,000 words in it.
No, I
Sorry,
agree. Like
soapbox.
No, I agree with what you're saying with like Wind and Truth too. Like, and it kind of goes back to what we were talking about with like when Isaac, you were saying you wrote the first version of that story and it was this big.
Yeah.
Not every story has to and can't have everything in it. It can't have all your ideas in one story.
The problem
You're
was
gonna have to write more than
I had like 20 characters.
It's a lot of characters.
That was the problem.
Way too
It was the
many.
number. I didn't understand that I couldn't have this immense cast. So once I chopped it down, just like here are my 3 main characters.
Yeah.
Three is
the
like
2
the
villains.
best.
Yeah, the Trinity.
And
The
they fight, and it's
Trinity.
great. They hate each other sometimes, but they have to work together sometimes, and I like it.
Yeah, the more characters you add, the more complexity you add, but also just the more mental load you add to the reader. You give them more things that they have to remember by adding more characters. And I know there's like the thing that you can do that, especially in a lot of like epic fantasy, and you will see this mostly in longer epic fantasy, where you'll have like a chapter from this POV and that's it. A lot of times that's either done to, one, give you a new perspective on characters you already know. That's really well done that way. Or 2, to give you a perspective on something that's super far away that none of the main characters are at.
Yeah.
And those are the only really 2 modes I see that used very well.
I've been tempted to do that. So Song of Bones, the first one takes place mostly underground. And I was terrified of people getting bored of being underground. So I almost had a couple flashbacks where they're not underground. But I almost did. The first draft had, we were jumping all over the place, but I think it was too confusing. Thankfully, everyone who's read it says that they were never bored underground. It was very exciting. So now I'm out in the woods, and I'm having the same worries. Are people going to get bored of the woods? So I think the woods are very exciting. What people have seen so far have been like very, very positive. But I get the temptation to jump around, to go over here to see what this is like, because there's so much in the world that the reader knows nothing about that I think will be very fun surprises. But I don't know. I'm struggling with that.
I feel like your readers are going to be fine, because there is such a thing as, I mean, it's the whole idea of you shouldn't change things for the sake of changing things. And if you're telling a meaningful story and it all happens in the woods, then great. Then it's the story and it's meaningful and it's happening in the woods. It's almost like a story could take place in just one room with a ring of chairs, and like then that would be fine.
Way to bring that back.
Yeah, just gonna full circle. It's a ring.
Rings of adventure.
There you go. Michael, one thing I wanted to say, though, the funny thing that you said about like the reasons for showing this one POV that you only see one time ever is exactly the rules for when you should and shouldn't use a prologue and an epilogue. Is if you're trying to show a different perspective than you wouldn't normally see in the rest of the book, or you're trying to show something that's happening at a different time or a different distance very far away that you will never see again. That's what prologues and epilogues are for, or like time skips. And like that's why a lot of people like always read the prologue and epilogue. I don't understand the discourse around people who don't read prologues and epilogues.
Yeah.
But that's mostly people who don't understand why they exist. So yeah, it's the if you're going to give me an interlude, Mr. Sanderson, make it something that I'm not going to understand from any other point of view, elsewhere, or couldn't just be stuck in as a footnote in a chapter.
Or let me see Gollum peering from behind somewhere in the dark for just a moment, and then
something
get back to the
meaningful.
Yeah. No, I really struggled with Wind and Truth as well. Like, and I'm a big Brandon Sanderson fan. Like, I love his writing in general, but I think that was the first book that I ever, because I listened to it too on audio. The first book I ever listened to his, where I'm just like, man, this is too much.
I'm so glad to hear that, because I was like, I feel like I'm just like all the fanboys are just gonna come after me for like saying
No, I did a whole episode on it, reviewing it after I finally finished it, and I was just like, I was really disappointed that this was where we're ending things for the Stormlight Archives, because it's an amazing series. But
Is it the end? Is that the final one?
No. How it works is it's going to be a 10-book series. The first 5 are the characters we've been with this whole time. That part is over. That story is over. And now we're going to be waiting a long time to get the other 5 that are going to be completely different characters. So to me, that's the end of a series.
You know,
Go ahead.
Sorry. The Mistborn thing. It's there. He's doing another age. So but I will tell you though, and my partner laughed out loud hearing this. We were in the car and then the book was done, and they're doing like the author's note at the end, and he says, and the next 5 books, and I literally just went, what? And my partner just burst out laughing, and I was like, nope, all done. Can't do any more of these.
Yeah. I like the Mistborn eras. Like, those are great, and they do relate to each other, but they are their own stories.
I loved Mistborn. That was like of his series, that was my favorite, but yeah, he let that one end.
Yeah. Well, there's going to be more. He's writing Ghostbloods right now, I think, which is the next Mistborn era.
Yeah, we'll see whether I pick that one up or not.
I could never get into Brando.
Yeah,
I don't blame you.
I tried. I bounced off several times. I began a Sword of Truth. What's it called? Storm and something. Sword. The first one. Wave Kings.
Oh, Wave Kings.
So we're just gonna keep until we get there.
You say Sword of Truth. That's Terry Brooks.
Yeah. Oh, I got that one. Yeah. So that's why I said that, because I have this over here.
There you go.
Wizard's First Rule.
There you go.
I have no idea what I'm talking about anymore.
Oh my, that's not even the same person.
Terry Goodkind.
You're gonna. I don't know. I'm a Terry. Look at this amazing book.
Next, he's gonna bring out a Pratchett book.
Oh, Terry Pratchett! I love Terry Pratchett. I mean, Lord Valentine's Castle over here is such a great Terry Pratchett novel. Oh man, cool. Yeah. I like. I don't know about his style is a little bit too clinical. Is that the right word? I don't know. I bounced off of it. It's not. I like Peter S. Beagle, Last Unicorn. I like Princess Bride, William Goldman.
Love the Princess Bride.
I like that kind of stuff in my fantasy. I don't like his fantasy is too smart. It seems almost like like the really good sci-fi, like really clinical and smart.
Yeah, like hard sci-fi.
He approaches fantasy like it's hard sci-fi.
It's the magic systems. It's he's written articles and given talks about how much he loves a complex magic system. And here is me, science-minded, just wondering why everyone hasn't died of heavy metal poisoning yet. So yeah, his writing style though has also been like, for all that he writes so much, his writing style is very spare. Like his writing is relatively simple. He just writes so much of it.
And he's also just really good at emotional payoffs. Like that's the thing. Like
I've never stuck around long enough.
You have, yeah. The Sanderlanche is real, and I really believe that. Oh yeah, you've never heard it called that?
I haven't.
Yes,
I know about the Sanderlanche.
Yes,
that sounds like a creature. Look out for the Sanderlanche waiting outside if you don't eat your vegetables.
Every Brandon Sanderson book does the exact same thing.
Yeah,
you set up the world, you introduce everything, and you just have this hype that's just built up, and just like things just keep happening, and it's going wrong, and it's going wrong. Oh my God! All of these blocks are being set up, and then everything comes crashing at the end.
Yeah,
almost every single book. He does that, and it's because he does that so well, with the emotional buildup and that tension constantly coming up, and then the release at the end. That's what you're left with when you finish a Brandon Sanderson story, that emotional release. So then that's what people remember when they think, oh, Mistborn, the way it made me feel at the end. They don't think about everything else, how long it took to set up, how clinical the magic system is, how really bad Brandon Sanderson's humor can be sometimes.
It can be bad.
Yeah, but you just remember that emotional high, and he's very good at that.
Yeah. So which one should I pick up? Which Brando Sando book should I read then?
Mistborn's probably the easiest entry.
Mistborn? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll read Mistborn.
Yeah, but if you don't like Mistborn, don't read the rest of them, because it is like, if you don't like one Brandon Sanderson book, you will not like the other Brandon Sanderson books.
These first 5 bites of dirt were not very good. Maybe the 6th bite will be better.
Yeah. And I will say Way of Kings is a hard entry into Brandon Sanderson stuff, because like that's the one where he goes really hard on the world building, really hard on the magic system. And you have to be introduced to a lot of things before the story gets kicked off, because the world is just so strange and different from our own.
Yeah.
It's like that John Mulaney meme where it's like, we got to get cool about a lot of things real quick.
Yeah. I love John Mulaney. He's so funny.
Well, cool. So we've run the gambit of writing in the world. The only thing we haven't talked about, I think, is Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey came out yesterday. People really love it. I don't think anyone's said anything bad about it. It has the whole nobody scene. It has, I think, sheep in it. I think there's water, but I don't know. I think I'll wait for the book the adaptation written by who's the guy who does all the adaptions? What's his name? He did the Alien adaptation. Sure. I don't know. I'll wait for his adaptation. Yeah.
So he's like, I'm gonna wait
novelization.
for the
I'll wait for the novelization.
Homer.
Homer.
No. I think
what's
it was
his name?
Homer.
Alan something. Hang on.
Very confused.
Alien.
What are you looking up?
I need to tell you. I need to tell you about this man. Novelization.
He novelizes like the movie adaptation.
Yeah.
So it's a novel.
Alan Dean Foster.
Okay.
So all throughout like the 80s and 90s, whatever, when a big movie came out, they would call Alan Dean Foster and he'd write a novelization of it. So I've actually read, like, I didn't see Alien Covenant. I saw it later, but when it came out, I didn't see it. I was like, I kind of want to see it, but I didn't want to rent it. So I found out on Libby, they had the Alan Dean Foster novelization. So I read that. I'm like, oh, that was really, really cool. Then I watched the movie and I was but he's been doing the novelizations forever.
Is the novelization just like literally the opposite of an adaptation, where you go from novel to movie and it's the same story, but
he works off the he's given the script, and he also watches the movie. So when he does the novelization, he actually makes an he's very good at it. You can watch the movie and read the book and have a great time, because they're both subtly different. He handles the characters differently. I mean, not too differently, but I mean, it works as a novel. He knows how to write a good novel off of something else, and it's pretty cool. So, and we have our first chat of the evening. Mike Mulman has wandered from the tomb. He's here to say howdy, howdy. Mike, welcome. Mike, we were talking about what you were saying about the Odyssey earlier, about how much you loved it, and there wasn't enough Cyclops in it. I agree. I think the Cyclops' baby was a bit of a. I think they're trying to sell toys. They're going on the Grogu train there. I think Nolan sold out.
Could very well be.
I mean, that's a missed opportunity. I mean, if you're gonna not do it perfectly, have a baby Cyclops, have a minion moment when like the minions come out, like, but there's baby Cyclopses, sell those action figures and happy meal toys.
I was given that advice once for writing stories where they're just like, you got to add an animal companion in there so you can start selling toys. So Ben, I know you got some animal companions coming up.
I have so many. I have so
shares.
Yeah, there's no animal companions. Actually, okay, that's not true. There is an animal companion in that one too. I do. I have a number of animal companions. My partner is making, bongo cats, like the cats with like the the cute little chibi cats.
Yeah, the Mike Mullen ones.
Yes, those. My partner has made bongo cat versions of the cats that are in my novels, so I can make like stickers and stuff.
Fun. Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah.
that's cool. I'm a sucker for a good animal companion, especially when they're like a little bit grumpy and don't want to come along.
Got a raccoon. That's got that one.
You need to start just making plushies of all of these and put them on as merch on your website. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good idea. And you could have you could be evil, and you could use AI, and you
Nope.
could make the perfect little plushies. And then people go, oh, they buy them. And then you send them like just basically a pillow with the design printed on it.
Oh,
That's what you send them.
what is this Temu idea?
It's like an animal companion, except you ordered it from Wish.
I thought of the most evil idea ever the other day. So we could make a website. It's like an auction site for like rare items, like rare collectible things. There's nothing on the site. All it does, so people come on. Oh, they're bidding. They're making. They're like, you've bid a cent. Oh, you're in the lead. Oh, you've bid. Oh, so you get people to bid up. Then you have a bot at the last moment come. They top everybody and they win the bid. So no people actually win any bids, and you make your money off of the ads on the side of the website. So you just get people almost winning the thing, and your AI comes in and outbids them.
I feel like
Just a time waster.
This is so dystopian.
Yeah, I can't tell how unethical that feels, but like it's just like
It's a solid 7.
yeah.
It's
like
definitely it's on the list.
Google Ads edging is like, I don't know. This feels wrong.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm dying over Google Ads edging.
Whoever takes the idea, you can have it. Just residuals, please. Residuals.
Just toss them a few ad revenues.
Yeah. A couple $100.
He'll be happy for it.
All right. Well, we've had a lovely time. We're over an hour now. Everybody, go to the Kickstarter and follow the Rings of Adventure. If you've liked our evil ideas and ponderings, you'll find that and more in our amazing short story collection. We'll be releasing short stories every day in the month of December, I believe is the plan. And we'll have a foreword written by, can I say who? Was that announced yesterday? Foreword written by Jenny Wirtz. I'm saying it now. Jenny Wirtz is writing the foreword. I think, if I've read the information correctly, I think that's what's happening. I've been listening to some Jenny Wirtz audiobooks during my daily walk, and I've been having a really good time because I've never actually, read any of her stuff. I've been aware of her for a long time, but I figure I should probably acquaint myself with her work, and she's pretty good.
If it wasn't announced yet, Mike will be in your DMs.
Mike says yes, so
good.
Okay,
Thank you, Mike.
We have his approval.
Excellent.
Thanks,
Thank
Mike.
you all for joining us. Follow the Kickstarter. Follow all of us on the different places we're on. I mean, where you guys are on Twitter and stuff and Instagram and stuff, right? I think
all of them except for Twitter.
All except for Twitter. So I've put your links to follow in the description, everybody. There's a description link to go to the Kickstarter, blah, blah, blah. Goodbye.